Hi, my name is Mark Bernard. I'm a monetary economist. In this video, I want to talk about the U.S. government going forward, specifically about the election results, 2024, 2025, and going forward, what this means, why it happened, what's going on. I have an American perspective. I am an American, but I'm also an economist. I'm going to tell you something that I don't hear anywhere. Stick with me. I'm going to give you a clear message about the economics of this, the something else over this, and its impact on Ukraine. Now, I could make jokes like, okay, humanity had a good run, etc., but this is a pretty serious topic, and I want to talk about it. We have a Republican win in the House, in the Senate, and the executive branch or the presidential branch. They control also the judicial branch. We have a complete monopoly of power in Washington by the Republicans, the GOP, led by Trump. Now, I'm not going to spin what you hear a lot of times, this, America has turned away from democracy and that the Trump supporters have gone mad. This isn't the case. You may see some isolated videos or this or that, but the popular vote as well as the other votes, they all voted for this seat of power of the GOP in Washington. Why is that? Why did that happen? From an economic perspective, I can talk very definitively, but there's something else is probably more important. So let's talk about this economics. In the last few years, if you haven't noticed, inflation went up, but it's a specific type of inflation. Asset price inflation went up. The stock market went up. The real estate prices went up. So if you're a first receiver of that benefit because you own assets and your total net worth increased. If you're a have-not, the only thing you saw increase is food inflation. So you can make an argument ignoring, all the aggregate data, the Gini coefficient, how well the household income is doing, inflation coming down in growth, that the rich got richer and the poor got poorer. And most people are not that top echelon that have everything in multiple real estate assets as well as in the stock market. More likely, you're like me. Car insurance went up. Educational expense went up. House insurance. I live in Florida. My goodness, that have basically doubled. Everything's gone up and your disposable income is being squeezed a little bit. So when you hear a message from Trump saying, we are going to fix this, it's a clear and simple message. We are going to fix this economic problem. Now, I personally don't agree with that, and I'm going to talk about that in subsequent videos. I'm an economist. I'm more responsible and cautious in my statements. But the message is a sales message. Something's broken. We're going to fix it. Out of the Harris camp, there was no such message. It was more like economic status quo, a continuation, or they couldn't articulate this in a charismatic way. So the first point of why Trump won was the economic message was clear and simple. The economy is broken based on asset price inflation and based on food inflation. The average person is not getting better off, but we're going to fix it. So that was a large reason why a lot of people voted, economics. But man does not live by bread alone. And if you haven't figured that out in life, you'll learn that later. Sometimes it's better not to have money. And I say this as an economist. So this something else is probably more important why Trump won and Harris lost. And you're not going to hear this from European YouTubers probably because I live in this America. I am in the collective unconsciousness of it. I understand what is going on behind the scenes, the silent army that people don't talk about. I'll give you the example specifically. I live, as you've seen my videos, let's call it in the swamps. A lot of people who are homesteading, growing food, have multiple animals. They live in trailer parks, massive communities of trailer parks. Have you personally ever been in a double wide or a single wide? What do you see at the bedside of these people? You see a Bible. Even in community homes, HOA, you see crosses and grandmothers giving their children blessings. God bless you, they're always saying. So it is still Viktor Frankl, the unconscious God, or however you want to spin it, anthropomorphic, Martin Gardner, he was the president editor of the Skeptical Inquirer, corrosive skeptic. He was from North Carolina, a mathematician, yet he was a believer. Europeans don't understand this, that Americans, no matter how you define it in terms of pew, church frequency of attendance, they still believe in something greater. And the Harris message was not the genuine liberation of women, because there's a difference between women's liberation and the genuine liberation of women. It was about this non-life issue. That's, I voted for Harris. I voted because she supported Ukraine. But the non-life issue is not something to rally about, feel great about. We're this silent army of people who have Bibles and crosses in their homes, in the swamps, in the trailer parks, in the HOA communities, the rich grandparents. They all have that. They're not going to be thrilled about increasing the number of 600,000 non-life, we'll call them victims in America, to a higher number. They're not going to rally around that. They're going to rally around fix America, fix the values. That brings you to another level. So you want to know why Harris lost and Trump win. Her message was not clear that she was uplifting. Now, as bad as Trump is, and I have no qualms about that. I don't think he's, a godly person. I think he cheats. I think he lies. I think he steals, or whatever he can say about him. He gave a clearer message. Fix the economy and fix that something else. Where the Harris championed the cornerstone of her message, and I don't know why she had that advice about this non-liberating liberation of women through the non-life choice. Okay, you got it? Hard to believe. But even me as a Ukrainian supporter, I had to think real deep and long before I voted for Harris because of that non-life issue. Most people do in America have these Bibles by their bedside and crosses in their houses, and they say, God bless you and bless you. That is the collective unconsciousness of America, and a lot of Europeans in the world don't understand it. They're saying this is an anti-democratic force. This is a crazy force. No, because you're not living in the trailers. You're not living in the swamps. You're not living with the people. The people want their future fixed and not pay this for education, and they want, a message of true values and liberation. Sorry to say it, because I voted for Harris because of Ukraine. Now, does this mean it's bad news for Ukraine? No. This is Plan B. I talked about Plan A. Harris, direct support to Ukraine, increase, allies in Europe, et cetera, et cetera. That's the optimal income. But sometimes, that outcome, sometimes Plan B is pretty optimal. It might be more optimal. Trump is anti-Adam Smith, and I'm going to talk about this a lot ad nauseum. His isolationism, his populism can bring this economy and the world economy on a trajectory of a real catastrophic economic problem. Not to mention he will, I don't know what he'll do, mine the national parks for oil or whatever. The net result will be the price of oil will plummet in real dollar values, not nominal values. That is the lifeblood of the Dutch disease of the Russian economy, this resource curse. And it will snip a flailing economy of Russia and bring it down. As long as Ukraine does not surrender, there is no way they're going to lose. Because the Russian economy is not doing well. So the reason Trump won, the Republicans swept D.C., is they had a clear and simple message that appealed to a greater moral cause of fix the economy and stamp out this non-pro-life nonsense. Because I would have liked to see a woman president, but there's a difference between women's liberation and the genuine liberation of women. And Trump is no champion of that message. But there are a lot of people in the Republican Party that are. And again, I'm an independent who voted for Harris. That is the reason Trump won. It appeals a simpler, higher ideal, whether it's good or bad. And his plan B for Ukraine, I think is going to work out fine, because Russia is going down economically, and let's watch it all unfold. My name is Mark Biernot. I'm a monetary economist. Have a great day. Thank you very much.